Is there any better way to spend half an hour? Why, I think the poet, Bon Jovi, said it best in his sonnet, Born to be my baby. Na 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 na, na na na, na na na, na 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 na, na na na, na na na. Why, Shakespeare himself could not have said it better. This is David Juan.
And 3, 2, 1. Ta-da!
Man, look, I'm even doing the countdown. It's like lip syncing.
You were so impressive.
Yeah.
We can count down from 3.
That's as high as I can go.
Hello, everybody. Hola. Mon nombre is Dave. I'm not. What am I doing?
You lost me.
I know. Oh, anyway, I'm Dave.
I'm Juan.
And this is Dave and Juan.
More time.
There you go. We got it. I used to know the French. Mon nom. Wait. Bonjour, Madame Lafont. Bonjour, David. Here's the funny thing. I can only remember the words 30-something years later if I repeat the whole conversation back in, I'm such an embarrassment to the Cajun people. My dad literally started school not speaking English, right? So
my dad. Yeah.
Right. And my dad would tell stories about at school they get punished. They basically they pretty much beat the French language out of our ancestors. Yeah. You couldn't. And so I remember my dad would tell that story, and I grew up understanding a little bit of it, but it's mostly that was the kind of the running joke about being Cajun. Your mom and dad always had that on and off switch. They had that second language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
And they get hit into, you knew they were talking it. Yeah, it was about you
or someone they didn't want you to know. Yeah. They would kick into like, it was like they kicked, when the French kicked in, when all the adults were around. Oh, saucy. And whenever I didn't understand, but I could always tell. You didn't really even need to understand the words as much as.
I said, you got the inflection.
Yeah. But so such an embarrassment. So my French all passed down through the years. And heck, I took a French class, and I still.
I saw in the news this week. Well, LSU has a new women's basketball coach.
Yep.
And
Kim.
I forgot her name. From Baylor.
I wanted to say Mulkey, right?
Yeah, Kim
Mulkey. Yeah. It's funny. Not like I can always check it, right? But
But so it made the news when Coach O greeted her this week. And his greeting was, "Come on, ça va?"
No, he was not.
Oh, yeah.
That happened? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Coach O. That's and good for her. I'm actually going to be up in Waco in a couple of weeks. But I'm looking forward to that. Actually, getting to speak to a group live for the first
time.
In person. It's exciting stuff. I got to see if I can still pull that off. Right. I got to see if I can still walk. It's not. It's sort of walk and chew gum, but it's walking. Talk to a group of folks. But
I can log in on Zoom if that helps you. You can just pretend you're talking to me.
Put it in the bag. No, I don't. For work purposes, this podcast doesn't exist. Yeah. It just doesn't exist. But that's good. Comment ça va? That's good. I'm sure Ed probably still knows a good bit of French.
I would think, or he could at least mumble his English, and you think.
Yeah, sometimes with we call him bébé. Sometimes with bébé, he could, even his English, just a little. But hey, more power. The players understand him. It's all that matters.
It's all that matters, man. Yeah.
And I do. I get aggravated when all that big run going on, and Coach O and all these people talking about, I can't understand them, and I'm thinking that's my childhood. That's what part of what he said didn't you understand? And you realize after, like, it's like when Mike Rowe was down in Galliana doing some of the alligator farms or whatever it was, and they had closed captions.
Oh yeah, I've told you before. I went to high school with Troy Landry, one of the original guys on Swamp People, and they would always close caption him, and it's like I got it.
You and Troy, huh?
Me and Troy. All I really remember about Troy from high school, he was a year ahead of me, was just the gravelly voice. I mean,
Does
other
it?
than that, he wasn't a standout kind of guy.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Alligator hunters typically don't become nationally known. Just he may have. That's his lane. He established that lane, and more power to him. So he was 1 year ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
How often were you held back? A bit, right?
About 3 years. In the 8th grade. All 3 times. No.
Well, I was actually older than him, but
I didn't say he was older than me. I said he's ahead of me.
Well, what you gonna do?
If there's anything I'm anal or OCD or super weird about, it's sleeping. I have to sleep in, like, the covers have to be a certain way. My pillow has to be a certain way. Yeah. When we were in Florida the other week, I loved the pillow that was in the hotel. I took it home.
You did not.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Oh, my wife would kill you.
No, it's still got the same pillowcase on it, man.
But you pay. Well, now look. So I can justify, not that it's right. It's not right, by the way. We don't endorse that.
I tell them, it's not the first time I've done it. I tell them, I said, I'm taking this pillow. Feel free to put it on my tab.
Oh, well then, okay. All right. That's okay. That's a different animal altogether. That's right. And if they do, they do. But I haven't done it. Prior to last year, I traveled a lot. And I don't take stuff out of the hotel. I never take things out of the hotel. Back in the old days, I used to maybe you take like the little
soaps and shampoos.
And actually, there was a time where my wife many years ago ran a group home, and so I would me and some other folks that did a lot of traveling would take whatever the unused stuff, and you donate it. Yeah, exactly. And they were using that stuff. So we always did that. And every now and then, especially when I was traveling a couple of years ago with my youngest son playing basketball, these tournaments and stuff, we're always in these hotels for tournaments. And a lot of times you just grab towels from the hotel, stick them in your gym bag. That's what he'd bring. He'd have stuff, but you might play several games. So over time, I'm sorry, when I get back to the hotel, I'm not sorting. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at bags. My wife was so upset. Like, how did we end up with all these hotel towels?
What do you? A lot of hotels.
What do you mean all these? Like, that may be like 5 or 6. Considering that I've probably stayed in 200 hotel rooms in the past, 4 years. It's like, I think my average is pretty good.
I think that's pretty good odds. Pretty good numbers.
And I like them. I like a hotel towel. I don't feel bad if it gets messed up. I didn't pay for that. Well, I actually did. That's the other thing too. That's what I point out. That's the most expensive towels we own.
Yeah.
The most expensive towel you own is that hotel towel. Trust me. Right.
Well, you paid for it a few times. So now I got a good pillow. So I sleep better.
You ever wonder about how many people slept on it before you?
I try to not think of that.
Back in the day, we like talking about subjects and what things were like back in the day. And we were talking about field trips. And I guess they still do. I know our church does when they could. A lot of these things it's so annoying to say, well, okay, prior to last year when nobody get to do anything, they take various trips. But we were joking about it. I remember my school trips. You'd load up on those unair-conditioned yellow school buses and go places. And going to New Orleans was like going to a foreign country for us.
Yeah, that's where we went in 8th grade. And
it was the Cabildo, what was it?
The church, the big cathedral.
Oh yeah, St. Louis Cathedral, Cabildo, and the Presbyterian. Oh God, so terrible that I forget the name of
Natchez.
We never did that.
Then we went to Pontchartrain Beach after this is okay. So you talk about the unair conditioned yellow buses. My school, elementary school, high school, no AC, nowhere. Our treat, we got the Greyhound bus to go on the field trip.
You did?
Yes, man. I went to private school for elementary school. So But I just remember, going on the not the Zephyr, the Tilt-A-Whirl at Pontchartrain Beach.
I don't know that I did that one.
The I've never done it again. I puked on the ride.
You puked on the ride.
On the ride
while you were on it.
Yeah.
Is that the
spinning thing?
So I'm gonna guess that others sort of noticed that.
Oh yeah, probably got hit. But so thankfully they had a bathroom on the bus because I puked in it the whole way home.
Oh man!
So you figure, what were you in 8th grade? Like 13 years old?
You didn't get a new nickname after that trip?
No.
Is that when you decided it might be a good idea to take up Taekwondo?
Yeah. But to this day, I've never gone on a spinning ride again.
I've never been a fan. I'm not a roller coaster guy. My sons sort of are, or when they were that age. I'm not. My wife hates them too, so it kind of works out there. I'm not a roller coaster. I've been on them. I've been on a few, but back in the Pontchartrain Beach, they had the Raging Cajun.
The Zephyr. You
go upside down. That was back when that was new technology. You strapped in, right? The bars came down, and that one wasn't as bad as I thought. I remember being terrified of getting on that thing. I really didn't want to. I figured it'd make me sick, but it wasn't that big a deal. I was much better off doing the upside down stuff than the roller coasters at 1,000 miles an hour that just quick turns and stuff. And no,
right. But the amusement parks aren't nearly as amazing to me as the little carnivals and fairs. The fact that more people don't die there.
Dude. Well, they do, but that's usually getting stabbed, shot, and OD'd. It's not, you got to consider the clientele.
From injuries from
right. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of deaths around these fairs, just not necessarily on the. Yeah, it's crazy. I wasn't a big fan of how oysters smelled, but or the oyster shells. It was sort of a. But yeah, it was cool, man. It was our first experience.
No need to have holes in your driveway.
No, that was the other thing too. We did. I don't think do they use oyster shells for streets anymore? I don't think so. I don't know. They did. It was back in the day. Yeah. That was rough. That's when you
you don't walk on that barefoot just so.
No, you can find out how hardcore you were. You'd be almost like a local legend, bro. That guy, he walks barefoot on oyster shells. I'm telling you, man, barefoot on oyster shells. That guy.
That'll tear up your knee, man.
They don't fall. No. Yeah, we were big time when they blacktopped our street. I remember that. We'd arrived. And I know we talked about this before. I think we talked about you enjoyed watching the
chase, man. One of the highlights of my life.
Yeah, how enthralled you were with the chase. It was
right up there with Roadhouse and Point Break.
Yeah. So no, it was I was on a flight, and it wasn't OJ. I just ended up sitting next to this guy. I'm not gonna give his name because of what he ended up sharing, but I didn't know who he was. We were just sitting together on the flight. I've been lucky enough to be upgraded, and as people are getting on the plane, a couple stopped and told this guy I'm sitting next to, I'm a big fan. Kind of took attention, like, all right. So once we take off, and back in the day, we weren't all wearing headsets, and we get a couple beers and stuff, and just I start talking with the guy. I said, I heard the guy called you a fan. What do you do? And he ends up, he was out of New York. He was a sportscaster. Okay. He was the voice of one of the NFL teams. So you can figure that part out. But and if I gave you his name and you Google him, you'd be like, wow, yeah, he's been with NBC forever. He covers the Olympics. He was coming down to Houston actually to cover at the time, I think it was boxing or something. Anyway, so good guy, about my age, and we talked for 3 hours coming back from Jersey, and he told a story about when the first time he met OJ. He was friends with this other guy, commentator, sports guy, who was an ex-NFL player. Very, very. If I gave you his name, same thing. Mm-hmm. All right, you know the dude. And while they're talking, OJ walks up, and OJ was good friends with this other guy. And so this guy introduces him to my friend, said, hey, Juice, I want you to meet. And they meet, and they're cordial. And but he said, OJ was just, when he walked up, he was mumbling under his breath. He was, you can hear him cursing. He's like, it's like visibly upset. And then this guy talks to OJ for a little bit and says, man, calm down, man. It's be all right. Whatever. And then after OJ leaves, he comes back and he tells him, he's going to kill her one day. He just can't handle Nicole. Now when the guy I'm sitting next to tells me this, a little bit of a chill. It's kind of weird. It's like you just feel like it's a weird 6 degrees of right.
It's like I know somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah, I'm saying it has nothing to do with any of this, but it was just weird. It was one of those like, huh? And then I said that did not happen. He swore, and we talked more about it, but yeah, he and so yeah, and he even said he thought that all of NBC, he thought all those guys were going to get called. He said it was sort of an open, like that's what the people that knew this dude best when it happened were like,
but the dude still has hangers on.
Man, look. Manson had people wanted to marry him when he was in. True,
they did.
I
went to LA, and I was at a conference in San Diego, and then ended up driving up to LA to see a friend of mine. And so got there, and it was like, what do you want to see? What are you going to do? And I said, I don't care about anything, but I want to go see OJ's house.
Everybody did.
Yeah. So we went to the Barefoot house.
They eventually tore it down. Literally, somebody bought it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to be out there a bit. There was people I was working with out there out of, he was in Whittier, California, which is a really nice place. I like Whittier. But a buddy of mine that, and he was an interesting cat, Jerry Parashow, still around, wrote a book. He used to write. So he had an executive job with this bank, but he also was a professional joke writer. He wrote jokes. He some of his stuff been used on Letterman and Leno, and he used to have a little business where he would write jokes for DJs. Everybody that listens to a lot of these hack DJs around the country, they're not even telling their own jokes, right? I mean, there were literally joke services. He'd write jokes for them, but and he's a great guy, and he's from that area. And he asked me, one of the first times I was there about seeing LA. Here's how sick I am, because I'm one of these guys. I'm one of these. I'm weird that way. Like on something happened here. Like iconic places or events or like such and such happened here. So I tell them, what I want to see? Remember after the Rodney King, that poor guy, Reginald Denny, that they bought. Yeah. I told him, I said, because I'd seen that so many hundreds of times on TV, that awful thing. And I told him, I said, I want to see that intersection. I want to, and he was so funny. He was so cool. He was like, wait, you want to what? I said, I want to go to, and he's like, do you know where that is? I'm like, no, obviously I don't, because you seem to have a little fear in your eyes about me asking. He's like, no, we'll do it in the middle of the day. He said, we'll do it because it's the middle of the day. And he drove me to that. And of course there's nothing there. I mean, you're just like, but it's
an intersection, but did you get out and like walk around?
Well, no. He flat out told me that too. He said, I am not stopping the car. You are not getting out the car. And I could see that why once I got there, but yeah, it was just one of those, I'm just weird. I'd always seen, I was telling him, I said, I'd seen this spot on TV so many times, that's just, that's how I am. Have you been to Alcatraz?
Yeah.
See, I've been to Alcatraz 4 times, I guess. And it's sad. As beautiful now, it's a different animal now. But let's go back many years ago. San Francisco, I always said was the prettiest city in America, right? I mean, it was.
Is the operative word. Probably.
Well, and you kind of hope
it's got a lot of natural beauty. I mean, you got
it does, but yeah, it's not. Yeah, but like, and I think about the time. So many times I've been there, and at places I'd walk around by myself. Sometimes I'd walk on. You wouldn't go near some of these places now. But my favorite part of San Francisco, right up there, was Alcatraz. Man, I fascinated being out there. And you said you've done it?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Probably 30 years.
Trust me, it hasn't changed. It's not, Alcatraz hasn't changed. But we were there about 5 years ago. I had something to do out there. We brought the boys with us. My wife came out there and brought the boys with us. And so they were probably in their low teens, mid-teens. and it ended up being a happy accident. So we get out there, and funny, we start talking about OJ, and now we're talking about Alcatraz. But the place dang near empties out toward the end. Like the one before the last boat out, we're walking around sections of Alcatraz by ourselves. Like cell block C, I've got just us. There was a time me and my two sons were standing in the library of Alcatraz alone. Like nobody, but it was bizarre. I'm sitting there thinking, it's a weird world, right? And like I'm standing in the Alcatraz library with my sons, and it's just cool.
I just back, man. Just try to make an out of it.
I think they did that sometimes. They would do these night tours, and I love me some Alcatraz.
My son, who is not a massive fella, he's 5'6" if he's on his toes, has become friends with a lot of college football players and even basketball players, and I've always wanted him, but he always refused to do it, for them to pick him up and put him on his shoulder and put him on their shoulders and take a picture. But it's he won't play along. But I'm just talking about some of these guys, even so just huge compared to normal human beings.
It's hard to describe, and basketball players, like NBA players, obviously.
I've been around Shaq a few times, and
right. But football players, I was in the airport once in Jacksonville, and I was behind. It was Mark Brunell, who's the quarterback, but Tony Baselli.
Yep.
And Tony Baselli was a tree. That dude's massive. That's back when they were playing. That's when they were both in Jacksonville, and they were well. The other one that I vividly remember, such a big guy, and it was random. I think I was flying from Houston back to Atlanta at the time when I was living in Georgia, and it was a relatively full flight, kind of. But I'm on exit row. I'm on window exit row, and aisle is empty. And I get on the plane kind of early, and I'm sitting there doing whatever, and then this guy, people boarding, and this mountain in a tank top. I mean, and just a beast goes by. And I'm thinking, oh, thank goodness, man. God, the guy needs some room. So they close it up and we're ready to go. And the next thing you know, real nice guy kind of comes back, because I had two seats open. He says, how you doing, man? You mind if I, take the aisle seat here? What I'm going to tell you, bro. Like,
would you like the plane?
Dude, massive. So, and it worked out for him, because he was able to sit on the aisle, and we had an empty seat between us. And no, he must be a bodybuilder, something big guy. So how you doing? Again, we weren't wearing headsets back.
Yeah, that's always the part when it's okay. How do I politely figure out who this person is?
I didn't know if he was anybody. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those. He's just a big guy.
But just the size sometimes.
I didn't recognize him. He's just a big guy. And you would think, man, I hope you do something with this size, right? So I just making small talk. I said, you heading home? You leaving home or you heading home? They used to be on my line. You leaving home or you heading home? He's like, well, actually kind of both. I have a place in back in Houston, but I'm going to Atlanta and whatever. And I talk a little bit, and he looks at me and says, where are you from? I said, actually, I'm from a place called South Lafourche. She says, get out of here, Bobby Hebert. I'm like, Bobby? Man, I play with Bobby. And then I'm like, I apologize, bro. Who are you? It was Jumpy Gathers.
Oh, wow.
It's one of those things. I never saw the guy not in a uniform. And I'm like,
that's the whole thing especially with football players. You never see him without a helmet.
Oh, he was the best. That was one of the cool. That was one of the most fun flights. I mean, and you try not to be the super geek. But
I'm okay with being a geek sometimes.
I got all these NFL questions to ask you. Dude, he was awesome. He had funny Bobby stories. He said he loved Bobby. He would say Bobby is the most generous, cheap guy you ever been around. He'd say that. He says, Bobby, hey, Barry said, I could show up at Bobby's house at 2:00 in the morning. Man, he'll take me in. He'll feed me a meal. He'll put me up, whatever. But you ask Bobby to borrow $10 and he wants to know what for. But he told some funny stories about that, and about the Jeff George days, and how the team wanted Bobby. The team was behind Bobby playing and not George, but George had the big contract. But yeah, it was just a massive guy. He had a finger that just went off in a different direction from hitting helmets all those years.
Yeah.
But one of the things he told me that I still to this day, and this will date where when this happened. Michael Irvin was still in the league toward the end of his career, but Michael Irvin was in a lot of trouble. He was in a lot of trouble a lot of times, but toward the end, he was in trouble for whatever. And I made the comment. I said, "What do you think about that whole Michael Irvin thing?" And his answer was great. He says, "Let me tell you, man, the NFL has its good guys and its bad guys, and they're gonna make him one of the bad guys because he had some kind of substance thing they were getting him on." He said, "They ever want to arrest anybody?" He says, "They need to arrest the people that are injecting us on the sidelines." He says, "They're giving us far worse during the games, before the games, after the games than anybody has taken on their own." He told a story about dislocating his big toe in the first half of a game. All right. They shot him up at halftime.
Yeah.
He couldn't feel his foot. He said he could not feel his foot the entire second half. And he played. And they had to cut his cleat and socks off at the end. He said, so that was his thing. He says, tell me that that you're going to be right. And he also called out some other players that get away with. There was a certain very famous quarterback at the time, very, very famous quarterback at the time, who was known to be in New Orleans every now and then. He didn't play with New Orleans, but let's just say their team played in New Orleans a lot. Mm-hmm. And he was infamous for seeing this guy lit up at different places. And I mean, he was the golden person. Wow. And he had sort of disappeared for about a month, and he had some kind of neck issues, and then he was back. And I remember Gathers told him, and he goes, "Yeah, who has major neck issues that magically go away?"
30 days.
And he basically said, "No, man, they know who they could not possibly allow the truth to get out about, and they'd make an example out of." So the NFL's been jerking around guys for a long time.
Well, that whole new crop of guys coming in. So
yeah, I just love the fact that a lot of them have been to the Manning Pass Academy at
that's
Nichols.
A big thing still, man. It's it's now Manning Field at John L. Guidry Stadium.
They got some great pictures that I shared from just a few years back, where you had Joe Burrow out there, Trevor Lawrence out there. Manziel's the only one they ever asked to leave. True story. Johnny Manziel's been a train wreck for a long time. He was at the Manning Pass Academy, and I think it was the second day. I mean, they were nice about it, but they let him go. I mean, it was
terrorizing Thibodeau, man.
I want to do that. Yeah, I want to we have a house real close to there now, and I want to try it if I can to be in Thibodeau for the cat, just to go watch.
Yeah, I guess they didn't do it last year. I forgot when at what time it's probably in the summer. My nephew was he majored in sports medicine or became an athletic trainer. He majored at Nichols, and he would work the academy. So
cool. We'll do it. We'll do a live podcast from the academy, man.
That'd be cool, man. We could do it from Bubba's on the Bayou. Everybody would be there.
Bubba's. Is it Bubba's now or Bubba's 2?
I got to go. I'm going to Thibodeau Saturday, so I'll scout it out.
Say hi.
Yeah.
Stop in and tell my mom hi for me.
Yeah, I'll blow the horns. I'll pass. I'm going to Nichols. Yeah, swim meet at Nichols.
Nice.
Yeah. Right. They don't have a swim team at Nichols, but they're having a swim meet at Nichols.
I went to Nichols for my 4 years, went back and got an MBA. I never put a toe in that pool.
It's not even a school pool. It's a private or it's another.
All right. Well, there you go. That was the reason. I put my toe in a lot of stuff at Nichols, not the pool.
I had a friend, still a friend, who was at summer school, and we taught before we had PE classes. In college.
Yeah.
And he had swim class in the morning. Well, the night before he had gone frogging, and they caught a small alligator. So he threw it over the fence into the pool to make sure class got canceled the next day.
Higher education.
There you go, man. Yeah. Learn how to game the system right there.
So to tie that in, you went to high school with Troy Landry, and later on you have an idiot friend throwing. That's not animal abuse, man. All right. Sounds like a good time to push the button. See if it stuck to the tape.
Man, we're this week. This man, I don't think we're ever going to have a mistake.
we may be doing this 2 weeks later. Like, yeah, last week's episode went. So anyway, it's if you want to contact us, we love hearing from you. Very easy. It's Dave and Juan at protonmail.com.
Check us out on YouTube. That's where you're watching this. Subscribe, comment there, comment on the Facebook page. Send us your thoughts, ideas.
That was almost funny. I can't tell right now, but I think you froze right in the middle of that, which is kind of cool. That's actually, it looks like exactly. Max Headroom. Look it up, kids. Max Headroom. Yeah. But yeah, this is a whole lot of fun, and it's more fun when you're here with us, and we appreciate that. And say we maybe get together again next Monday.
7:00.
Sounds good. All right, man. Love you, buddy. Peace.
See you, bud.